That, my friends, is one noisy transmission. This is a 2004 GTI with a 6-speed manual. That was a terrible transmission noise, and in this video, we're gonna figure out just what the heck is going on. We might even mess around and actually fix it. This car belongs to a buddy of mine, and he brought it to me for a noise on decel, specifically in 3rd and 4th gear. After test driving it, I found that it made the noise on decel in pretty much any gear. I think the noise of the exhaust made it harder to hear in the lower gear. After duplicating it on the road, I got it up in the air and listened to it with a stethoscope, or in this case, a long screwdriver. I did find that when it was making the noise, I could push the clutch in and let it out and cause the noise to happen and the noise to go away. So this is less an RPM-based issue and more of a load on the transmission issue. So we're gonna try one repair that runs about 50 bucks. If that doesn't work, we're gonna put a used transmission in it. This is the 02M style transmission found in a lot of VW and Audi cars. In fact, you'll find a similar transmission from about 2002 up to current. Here's the input shaft or our transmission. This is what splines into the clutch and then connects to our engine side. So our clutch lives inside of here, which is the bell housing. As we rotate it around, we have our backside. So this is our input shaft that runs all the way through the transmission. And then here is where our 2 output shafts are supported, and then our differential lives on that side. What I'm thinking is happening is that play from the input shaft is causing the noise. So when we're decel, it's loading up this bearing that lives back behind this cover and creating the noise. Our attempt to salvage is going to be installing this washer right here to limit the movement of the input shaft. You'll also need a new cover, and it's not a bad idea to go ahead and replace the snap ring as well. I'll make sure to list these 3 parts and the part numbers down in the description. Also, if you want to see a complete teardown of one of these, I did do a video on that on the R32. Now, while the GTI is front wheel drive, this basic same transmission is also used in the 4Motion cars like the R32. The main difference being here, instead of just this axle cup, is our bevel box that would then send power to a prop shaft and then onto the Haldex. Before we get too crazy taking stuff apart, let's do a couple of checks. We'll get the belly pan and the side skirt out of the way first. That's not the right thing that goes there. Now it seems like the noise is coming from back on this side of the transmission. Let's go ahead and drain the fluid out and take a look at that. Look for any metal or sparklies or anything. This is also a weird like tamper-proof triple square on these 02Ms. So you need a bit of a special tool to do that. You see it's got a hole in it. That's what you'll need to take this drain plug out. We'll crack it loose, then slowly take the drain plug out, and I have a little jar here. We're gonna try and catch some of this fluid in. The fluid coming out of this transmission looks pretty clean for almost 200,000 miles. They probably tried to change the fluid in order to fix the noise. All right, drain plug's back in. Let's see if there's any metal in this fluid here. This is the first bit of fluid. I'm gonna run this through a cheesecloth after that last fiasco with our man Paulie D. So there was a little bit of yuck in the bottom, but man, like, it's to be expected. Some bit of wear of the gears over time is super normal to have, like brass from the synchros. These are brass synchros. Yeah, if it were chunkage, we would have found it. This is just bubbles, nothing. Okay, our fluid is good. So here we're looking at the backside of the transmission. To give you context, we're through the wheel well. Here's the fender liner. We need to get this cover off of here. It's a metal cover with like a rubber coating on it. You can punch a hole, drill in a hole through the middle if you want. The center section is soft right here, so I'm just gonna pop a hole in it, then use a seal puller and pull it out. Normally that comes right out. There we go. You can see, metal cover. I ruined it, but we ruined it anyway. So if you ever are gonna check this, get yourself a new cover. Now with our cover off, we can see the end of our input shaft, and there's a couple of things going on. And this is where I think, anyway, our noise is coming from. There is some play in this shaft. Now there should be. This shouldn't be like no play at all, but there's some pretty good play. As I pull the shaft back, if you look right here, you can see there's a snap ring holding it in place. The washer that we're gonna add is gonna go behind that. So we're gonna need to take that off, put the washer on, and put the snap ring back on, put the cover on, and we'll see if that fixed our noise. There's also different variations of this end piece. I think the earlier revisions had a tapered roller bearing instead of this encapsulated ball bearing like we have here. There was also a production change sometime in about 2006 where this washer is already installed in the transmission. Also, to feed my own curiosity, I'm going to install our dial indicator so we can measure what our end play is. I got lucky and the shaft, which is normally on a magnetic base, threaded right into this hole right here. Okay, so we got our gauge all set up on the end of our input shaft. Make sure we got a bit of preload. We'll go ahead and zero it with the input shaft all the way towards the engine. So as I pull the shaft out, that'll give us our range, our measurement, 0.078 inches or about 2 millimeters. That's pre-clip. Get this out of the way. Let's go ahead and get our snap ring out of here. We'll take our washer or shim, whatever you want to call it. We'll drop that in behind where our snap ring was. Then we'll go ahead and put our snap ring back in place. Now you might find that you've pushed the input shaft in a bit and your snap ring won't just snap right in. So pull the input shaft back and then just take a pocket screwdriver, make sure your snap ring's all snap runged into place. And already, like obviously, we just put a shim in here. It should be quite a bit less play. Okay, we got our gauge set up, pick our preload, zero it out, make sure our input shaft is in all the way. Let's pull the shaft out and see what we get. Wow, 0.01 inches or about 1/4 of a millimeter. I can push it further, but it kind of comes back to zero. Okay, clearly a significant difference. Let's put a new cover on it. We'll fill it up with fluid and then see what happens. Also, you're probably thinking, Charles, I don't want to set up a dial indicator. I don't know how to set up a dial indicator. Ain't nobody got time for that. I actually don't disagree with you at all. I'm doing this because I want to prove out what this does. If you're doing this job yourself, just put the shim in. You don't need to spend all the time I did messing around with a dial indicator. But I want to make sure that I'm showing you guys, hey, this is what we're actually doing versus just saying, hey, slap this thing on and let's hope for the best. Before putting the cover on, we'll give a quick wipe down of the transmission case, set the cover in and try and center it as best we can. Then I'll take this seal installer and just drive it home, making sure to try and keep it as even as possible while we do it. Tighten our drain plug before I forget. Next, we'll go ahead and take out the fill plug. This has definitely been off before, and I'm going to show you how I know. Because someone didn't have the right tool. Take it off and took some pliers, bit on the side of it, hump. We'll go ahead and get it filled up with fluid next. I'm also not putting in the correct fluid. This is just some gear oil I had laying around. If this ends up fixing it, we'll go back with the right high quality stuff. Once we start to get our trickle of fluid out, our level is correct. Blurp. And we can go ahead and put our fill plug back in. I'm gonna try it on the lift first. See, because I was able to get it to make the noise on the lift. So before we put the wheel on and all that other jibber jabber nonsense, let's see if we can get it to do it up here and we'll go from there. I changed my mind on the tire. We're gonna put it back on. Wheel and tire. Wheel and tire assembly. Wheel and tire module. You can charge more if you call it a module. That's filthy. Moment of truth. Let's see what it do. I don't hear it. Okay, I don't hear it, so now let's go test drive it and see if we hear it on the road. Wild! Now that we've proven out our repair, let's go ahead and drain this not correct transmission fluid and put in some good stuff. Also, it dawned on me while I was taking this drain plug out, you saw me earlier commit something that is really not recommended, and that's taking the drain plug out before making sure the fill plug came out. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of context for that. As a DIYer, taking the fill plug out before the drain plug is really important in case you can't get the drain plug out. You can still seal the transmission up. Keep in mind, my bad background is in a professional shop. Not being able to get the fill plug out is not an acceptable reason not to service the transmission. As a pro, you gotta figure it out. I think sometimes I don't do a good job of making that distinction on a DIY side versus a pro side. We'll get the drain plug back in and we're gonna fill it up just the same as we did before until it dribbles out of the top hole. I'm gonna fill this gearbox back up with Liqui-Moly High Performance Gear Oil in 75/90 weight. I'm also gonna be adding MOS2 anti-friction specifically made for gears. Similar to what we might add to the engine oil, but we're gonna put it in the transmission. You could also add Ceratec, the ceramic wear protection if you wanted. You just need to make sure that you follow the instructions and put in the right amount. Now for our MOS2, I've been kind of squudging it up like this to get it a little bit warmed up, and then we're just gonna blast it on in there. And we'll go ahead and get our little pumpulator in and pump it on in. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up there. As always, questions or comments, drop them down below. I'm gonna put part numbers of everything we used, including the fluid and the MOS2 from Liqui-Moly, down in the description. With that, I'm out. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you again next time. Nothing like a 20-year-old Volkswagen's belly pan.